This episode of the B-Leaguers podcast, no, I'm kidding. This episode of Hammered is brought to you by our very first 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, titled Better Than B-Leaguers. I know this is a difficult statement to justify, but if you listen to this podcast, you won't be able to disagree. Chowder and Jacob are hilarious and really know what they're talking about when it comes to Siege. I can just smell the sarcasm coming off this, by the way. Even when they aren't talking about Ubisoft's dumpster fire, the podcast is still one of the best things to watch. It's genuinely the highlight of my week, and I wish they could do it more often. P.S. Stacy's mom has got it going on.
I thought I saw her on MILF.com. Yeah.
Wait, what?
That's my favorite fake lyric. That's my favorite fake lyric to Stacy's mom. I heard it in a cover, and I was like, that is the most amazing lyric to any song I've ever heard.
Just drop that in the chorus. Stacy's mom's got it going on. I thought I saw her on MILF.com.
No. I thought I saw her on MILF.com. Stacy cannot come over. Right?
Good grief.
Do you not know that song? Stacy's mom?
I know the song.
Yeah.
I sang it at a Ubisoft thing after Invitational 2018. We're all background story. So
I'm curious now. Yeah, you can't not explain this.
Some background for this. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Invitational 2018. Okay. We finished the event. Some of us though stay still in Montreal because we're doing some playtesting. So we're staying there. We were working on, Maestro and stuff like that. So I was very happy. Right. And they invited us.
They put yourself insert OC in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get no money out of it. So great. Yeah. and then they add Oryx, and I still get nothing.
Yeah.
The who?
The Sonic fandom.
The Sonic fandom?
I'll talk to you about it later. But
is that like the rework of the Sonic stuff, like the movie stuff?
No.
The fandom, the community around the Sonic franchise, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
The fandom for it, yeah.
They are to a man insane with all of the original characters they have. It's great.
It's like to a T, yeah.
Fair. Fandoms in general. However, continuing the story. So we get invited to this party for Rainbow Six people, and it's mostly just developers. So very closed kind of thing. I'm there with Parker, who decides, as usual, to overdress for the situation. And I'm there with Junas and Shate and KS and Canadian and Skies and Geo. It's a fun old time, right? And finally, we actually get there because, believe it or not, Parker wanted to change his clothes twice, and then he went up and got a new jacket because he wanted to dress up because he thought this is something got to be formal instead of thinking, hey, these are devs right after a work day and they're just not going to give a shit and just want to get smashed drunk after work. Right? So that happens. We actually get there, and apparently there's karaoke, and I'm like, yo, dude, let's fucking do it. I don't really drink. Back then, I didn't drink at all, so I said, you know what, I will sing a song, and I picked Stacy's mom, and I was supposed to go there, and I was pushing one person to sing with me who is one of the people that are in charge of the balancing team, basically, who Julien, I don't know if he still does that to this day, but super fun. So in the end, he's like Huguenin. Yeah. Super fun guy.
He's project
French
lead
guy.
on user experience now.
Yeah. So there
he's
you
in my
go.
rank stack. Yeah, he's still good.
Julien is a really fun guy, and I was trying to draw him in to sing the song with me because I'm like, okay, I don't know how this crowd's gonna be like. Maybe I forget one of them, but he in the end, dodged it. So fair enough. I go up and I start singing it, and people start actually singing along and everything, and it was super fun. So in the beginning, I was just so afraid because I thought, oh shit, what did I get myself into?
I picked Stacy's mom.
Of all the songs to pick,
honestly,
Bohemian Rhapsody, Total Eclipse of the Heart, the classic karaoke song.
Bohemian Rhapsody is what you finish the night with at karaoke. That's
it's also really long compared to the 4-minute pop song that Stacy's mom is.
You finish the night with Bat Out of Hell.
Fair enough.
Because Bat Out of Hell is 8.5 minutes long.
Yes, but you can also finish the night with that song too. Like Bohemian Rhapsody is one of those that you can kind of go with at the end of the evening. And we did, what was it? I sang with Canadian and Shate and Justin and Jonas and not KS because he's too shy, but we sang with a bunch of people. And there's still a video of this that Marie has on her Twitter, Acvico, or however you say it on Twitter. And man, rewatching that video before every invitational now is hilarious, because you're like, oh my god, someone is immensely off key in that song and you don't know who it is, because there's like 7 people around those 2 mics. So each one of us saying like, wasn't me. So in my head it's like, oh, definitely not me. I mean, can never be me, and
it couldn't be me. I'm not the problem ever.
Exactly, and it will be. That question will live on till the end of time, because I'm sure that I was the one with the nicest voice of everyone. So, there it is. So that video is on Twitter somewhere, if you can look for it. I think it's in my likes. Actually,
if you want to go diving for it, Chowder, I don't know how far back. Wait, if this would have been like late February 2018.
Correct.
So
I mean, I can just literally go in here and search at.
Hold on. You can go for a Twitter advanced search. Let's go to Wikipedia and figure out the date that it ended on. Like, this is easy.
I think it's in my likes as well, because I don't actually do this like most people. Most people use their likes on Twitter as like, they just literally like everything. And for me, I just use it as storing tweets that I actually liked, or stuff
as
that
a bookmark function.
Yeah, basically. So I'm pretty sure it's easier to find it that way, and I can get to it pretty quickly. Let me see if I can find it.
It ended February 18th, 2018.
What do you mean? What?
The Invitational did. So if it's after Invite 2018, then it stands to reason that it's somewhere like in between, I don't know, like the 18th and maybe like the 22nd or 23rd by the time you guys left.
I found it. Okay, I'll post it here and check it out.
I don't know if we have desktop audio on broadcast, but we'll see. Oh my god, this is a classic.
Did you find it?
Yeah, it's in Discord.
Oh Jesus.
I have those too.
There's going to be like a 2 seconds of dead air on the podcast and no one's going to know what's going on. Because we're all watching this, just being enamored by this.
Oh, geez. You'll have to splice this in. Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to put this over something.
It's too good, dude.
Back when his handle was still Hey and Taro Bang. Oh, my God.
Yep.
Oh, this looks like a grand old time.
Oh.
And
oh boy,
I was doing all of this without having had a single drop of alcohol. So some others had a couple of drops themselves, and all I remember from that night after everything was done is drunk and very tipsy and Taro and very tipsy Justin hugging one another. And then I'm like, okay, guys, I'm picking up the boys and we're going back to the hotel. And that was it. That was the end of that evening for me. I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to go and chill. I remember Hungry was with us, but he was so immensely tired and sick to the point where he couldn't even make it to the playtest in one piece.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
The guy got sick genuinely, like the day after Invitational. He got hit hard with a land flu. So
there were a lot of people after Invite 2020 that got that too, but I kind of figured most people in the community, after having been to so many events at one point, just don't like, or they know the precautions to take so that they don't have to worry about it again. I was lucky because I do travel somewhat frequently, so I was all right, but there were some that just went, oh god, I got sick and I don't know what from. Like, just wash your hands, buddy.
Yep.
Like,
wash your hands
right anyway.
Try not to sneeze on people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still hugged a lot of people there, but I was able to stay safe.
Oh, yeah.
That's
So-
good. Yeah.
Fair enough.
You had to be selective about who you were hugging too. So,
That's true.
Yeah.
because if you did it to everyone, then it heightens your chance. But if you do it to somebody that you know, you're like, oh yeah, sweet. This is a brotherly hug, and I can take this all
Yeah.
day. Like,
Sometimes, I mean, I'll be honest. There's a lot of moments that are immensely emotional when you meet people that are outside of just the friends or community members that you know and have seen online or met previously.
Yeah.
And there's some people that, given the situation, they can't believe that they actually made it to an event like that. They can't believe that they are at the biggest event of them all, and the emotional strain really cracks on people. So I really get it. I've seen many people just break down, and the only thing my body can do at that moment is just grab them close and hug them. They were so tiny. There's a couple of like tiny little ladies. There's a Korean lady and a Russian lady, and you're like, please don't cry. I hope these are tears of happiness because we're all having fun here. And you're like, you know what? This is lovely. Even the first time I saw this was at DreamHack Austin. There was someone that came up there and he was saying like, you know what? I just can't believe that I finally was able to attend an event with these players. All the pros are so nice. They're so fun. And they just said hello and took pictures of me. And they were so, so respectful and everything. And the guy broke down crying. It was literally as the grand final started between Millennium and EG. And I'm like, you know what, bro? Come here. Give me a hug. Bring it in. Because if I were in that spot, I would have felt immensely emotional. I was very emotional when I met some of the StarCraft casters I looked up to for the past 10 years. So watching, like being finally at a StarCraft event and being able to meet them, talk to them, and then them finding out that I work on Rainbow Six esports, they're like, yeah, we actually played Rainbow Six and we've been seeing like how big it's getting. And it looks really sweet. One of them is like, yeah, unfortunately I'm garbage at it, but it looks pretty fun. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Same here, dude. So the emotion, I
apologize for not crying when you and I hugged that one time at Invite. The one time we were able to bump into one another, I apologize for not just breaking down saying, oh my god, I can't believe I'm finally... Because at that point, I'd been in Siege for, a little over a year in esports at that point, and I'm like, well, it would make a lot more sense for someone else who's been in it for a lot longer to be more emotional about it. So,
Nah, look, there's no sense in emotion. You just do whatever you feel it. Just go for it.
It's very true.
I paid an entire funeral procession the first time I met Milosh to just cry for me. So
like a mariachi band and just hire for crying?
Yeah. Yeah, so 30 people come up and we all just start wailing Ghassan! Right?
I can't believe it!
Good lord.
I don't know if you've ever seen that scene in Game of Thrones where they're all trying to touch Daenerys Targaryen, where it's there's 100 people surrounding her. We
Do you want me to tell you something?
What? You've never seen Game of Thrones, have you?
I watched 3 episodes.
Jacob, you've never seen Game of Thrones either, have you?
I haven't watched a single episode through to completion. Wasn't worth it.
I could tell you something. I did watch, up to this day, the entirety of Better Call Saul. I binged it for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Almost the entirety of 5 seasons.
Wow.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. And I just last night started Breaking Bad. Never watched it before.
Started Breaking Bad?
Wait, you
wow.
just started Breaking Bad?
Yep.
That's
I mean, hold on.
okay.
Let's not.
I don't watch shows, dude.
Yeah, don't rip into him too much. I think I do the thing where I wait for an entire show, series, start to finish, to be over before I start it. Sometimes, that was me in The Office. That entire thing was over and done with before I even considered watching an episode from that. So
I've never seen an episode of The Office.
What?
Well, it's just
Nope.
Okay. That's a
Chowder?
crime. Sir.
No. You said he shouldn't rail into me too hard.
So I tried watching this
fair
one
play.
episode.
Look, if you tried watching from the first season, it is cringy and difficult as fuck.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, it is.
Well, I tried watching this one episode, and it was like he had to explain to a bunch of kids why he couldn't pay for their college. I was like, "Are you kidding me? If this is the no, I'm done."
Oh God,
Dude.
Like I couldn't do it. Like I was just sitting there, and I'm just like, I cannot watch Steve
man.
Carell break
You
like
feel
30
the awkwardness. Dude,
Yeah,
you
I
feel
can't-
the
I can't-
awkwardness.
like, I can't
It's
do
so
that.
good. It's so
I can't
good.
do that style of humor.
There are times I will not lie to you. There's some times where I would skip 30 seconds ahead just to not have to feel the emotional strain of God, this is so bad.
yeah.
My God, it's a testament to how good these actors are and how the whole thing is correctly set up. I think.
Now, speaking of correctly set up, you want a hard pivot?
Go ahead.
That was
let's
a good
get serious.
segue, but go ahead.
To,
that was a
to-
good pivot.
To how to correctly set up on Villa. Welcome to the Siege News section of the Hammered Podcast, where we talk about all the news that's fit for print. And today on the Siege News section, we're going to be talking about fucking Villa, apparently.
Do you think we need to provide backstory on that,
I
or
think
is
we
that
do.
kind of already
I think we
blown
do.
up? All right. So it's I believe it's an ESA Europe match.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's going on. ESA is a pretty standard Tier 3 league that runs in both North America and Europe. And I don't remember exactly who was playing or like the player himself who performed the action, but there's a little spot on the roof on Villa in between. It's just like a very little slight section of the roof on the side by the fountain spawn point.
I have
not
a clip
quite
actually.
over as far as like the master side of the room, but it's a spot where you can look down the entire 90 hallway, and there's a little slit that someone's figured out, a little slit that gives you access to all of that 90 hallway going all the way down to the staircase that can lead to the left hand side once you go into the trophy and deer bomb site over on that side. So
And very importantly, you can shoot in, but they can't shoot out.
They can shoot out, actually. Someone
can?
tested it.
Oh.
I have a clip. So I posted the clip of the guy that's shooting, like from the actual tournament. It was Infinity Esports. And apparently, somebody actually tested this and posted this link as the rebuttal that this is actually possible. And you see the angle that's being held as like, well, what happens now as is to justify that moment. Now, I will wait until you guys are ready before I weigh in on my own, explanation of what I think about this. But once you're ready, just let's go.
So you can shoot back through it. Okay, interesting. So I think the problem that it came down to was just someone noticing that there was like just going around all of the different shingles, I guess, all the different partitions of the roof, and noticing that two of them just weren't connected. Like there was just a very, very slight seam. So no collision, no contact, bullets can pass through it just fine, and now we're at this point where it's being used in competitive matches to get an angle that no one even thought was possible. Now, whether it's something that is intentional glitch use or unintentional glitch use is a different story, because the way it was defended, if I can pull that tweet back up, the way it was defended by the team that executed said play is the thing that I think has probably stirred up more controversy than just the play itself. If I can go back and find this.
I have it right here.
Yep.
Very disappointing to see this ruling made after unintentional glitch use.
I mean, I don't know about you. I am an optometrist. I might have some more say on what you can see with your eyes.
Right, of course.
But that, I have to say, that looked pretty fucking intentional to me. But
are you sure? Are you sure? Because I think Rob Walker, the owner of CCS, had an interesting take on this, where he actually agreed with Infinity Esports. Aiming at a specific marking on the roof, firing once, firing twice, reloading, and then holding the same pixel roof marking. Yeah, nothing intentional about that one. I agree. I don't think there was anything... Personally, I don't think there was anything intentional
There's
about
nothing
that.
to the fault of the Infinity Esports player on that. I believe it definitely was just happenstance that he found that angle.
Oh, of course.
So,
And it just happened that he was checking in the moment that someone was walking down 90 into landing, and then shot once, shot twice, and then kept firing to get the kill.
I mean, look. When I'm Jackal, the first thing I always do is pop up to the roof, find a random section on it, and just start firing my C7E. That's
right.
That's what you do as Jackal, right? That's like the thing you do before you roam hunt.
Again, if you have a PDW, you don't do that though. That's the difference.
Right.
It's the C70.
Right. If you have a PDW, you have to try to enter the same door 4 times and keep getting rubber banded out, and then you have to find another door to enter. That's what you do with the PDW. Yeah.
That's exactly how it works. Thank you very much, Shouter. I mean, what would I do without you?
Yeah. Get this man on an analyst desk. He knows exactly what he's talking about.
Honestly. I mean, he definitely tried for USN, but Veli got that spot, remember?
Yeah. I think I tried for USN because I kept smacking actual analysts at Prisma. I was just like...
Look, man, Prisma is like the ultimate way for you to know, or for everyone to know, that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I just get drunk and pick people.
But it works. So if you just get drunk on broadcast at the same time,
definitely.
Let loose, dude, you'll be fine. You'll be great.
Hair, makeup, and they just hand me a bottle of whiskey, and I'm just sitting there like,
you been getting chowder on? Never mind.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how you can convince Stuart something like that. Stuart, by the way, is the boss of Invitational when it comes to talent.
Look, he'll be fine. All you have to do is just get him drunk.
Yeah.
He'll be the best analyst on that desk. Just
we'll
give
put
him
up
a Twitter
poll
filter.
afterwards
just have
asking
someone, like,
who was the
sit
best
on a
analyst at SI 2021, and it'll be Chowder by at least a 50% margin.
It'll be Chowder and Chowder's vomit bucket for when I get too drunk.
Oh, good.
Which one got more screen time is now the poll.
So you're going to be on Veli's desk is what you're saying.
Yes. So I would consider this something like, if you remember, I think it was back in 2014 or 2015, the pixel boost that Ninjas in Pajamas did.
I'm going to remember which one that is.
Fnatic.
Was it Fnatic?
No, the Olaf boost?
Yeah, Olaf boosting.
Yeah, that was Fnatic.
Oh, yeah.
I remember watching it live with my friends, actually.
Yeah, and I was sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But I would consider it something like Olaf boosting where, I mean, sure, you can do it. You shouldn't be able to do it, and it's very obvious you shouldn't be able to do it, but you can do it.
I mean, it's so niche. Just saying that it's not a one-way angle which justifies it, I don't buy that at all.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. And that's not the way that you rule if a position is considered an exploit or not. That position is 100% an exploit.
Mm-hmm. Because there's no way to tell if there's anyone up there or not.
Unintentionally, but it is still that. And, rules or whatever. Look, I know people say, like, rules are meant to be broken, but let's be honest. Laws and their interpretation evolves over time, right? We don't interpret the same things in the same way this day, right? That's this day as we did like 100 years ago. So, if you ask me, that is bullshit. 100%, that is a bullshit angle that should not exist. Devs will probably work on it, that's fine.
Yeah.
But you can't justify it. That's my opinion of it. But still, I know some people that will justify it. I know that even if the devs fix it, then they're going to be like, oh my god, they actually fixed this very obvious and relatively easy thing to fix instead of fixing the entire metagame that we've been having for the past 1.5 months.
You can fix the geometry on this one specific angle, but you can't ban every single hacker?
I can't believe this. Cancelled, Ubisoft! Cancel!
Ubi, please.
Get canceled.
Yeah.
The funny part is that tweet is still up, by the way. The Infinity Esports one is still up and like proudly proclaiming that it was an unintentional use of a glitch. Like,
they're still very proud of that.
You had different ways to handle this kind of thing. Like, you could have said, oh, our bad, we didn't know that it wasn't allowed. You could have played the incompetence angle, or the...
But, the second part of that tweet is what really sends me. But as great sports, we will happily move on from this. Congratulations to Nice Gaming on their first and maybe last win of the season.
Okay.
Yikes.
Okay.
We will continue our unbeaten run.
Okay.
Where are they based in? So
UK.
UK based Infinity Studio.
Do they have a lot of followers? No.
No.
InfinityEsports.co.uk. Let me
ESA
see.
also put up a ruling about this as well.
Yeah.
ESA has ruled that this angle was not intended to be in the map and therefore is a glitch, and that it is reasonable that a player using the angle know that it is a glitch. It was also ruled that the angle was used unintentionally to gain an unfair advantage, meaning the play in question is the intentional use of a glitch and falls under the rules as such. The rule from the playbook is, quote, if any glitch is intentionally used during a game, the team that used the glitch will be forced to forfeit the map. So the whole unbeaten run thing is immediately out the window because rulebook, hello, forfeit.
Yeah. Even though, if you ask me, if the protest had happened in that moment, it should be a round forfeit, and you can introduce penalty points. I don't know what the prize pool is for ESA, but usually how you do it in Pro League is if there's something like that for the map, then the round is forfeit and you get a penalty point, a minor penalty point in that case, which means you lose a couple $100 overall from the prize pool.
Okay.
And if you do it again, major penalty point. Different question.
Makes sense. The thing I know is the ESA rulebook and the ESL rulebook are mostly the same thing. There might be some very minor changes in there, but I'm friends with a couple of guys who've casted ESA for North America and maybe a little bit for Europe, and they're like, yeah, the rulebooks are almost the same thing. So,
yeah, you have to mirror what it is in PL, even though you can't. Like ESL owns the rights for their playbook, so you can't just copy paste. By the way, for anybody out there that wants to run a tournament, keep in mind copyright. You can't just copy paste the entire thing. If you want to run a rule set, then make sure you contact the major tournament organizer that runs the baseline of what tournaments are, either going through Ubisoft or through ESL, just to ask, like, hey, is it okay if we can use these things in this interpretation running the event because our tournament, because we want to go through the official rule set. You know, if you're gonna copy paste it, at least ask.
Also,
I've seen some shit.
Yeah. Also, make sure to contact your local government and inform them that you are running a game of skill. I wish this was a joke, but I actually had a cop come to a local 40K tournament and shut it down because we didn't have the license.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
Like it was something that you already like pay for the venue for, but the event just gets like
no, it was just at
completely
like
shut
my
down
local
because-
gaming shop, but like it was a high stakes tournament. There were like 16 people, $50 buy-in, 50-50, right?
Oh,
you win, you come home with like $400,
Yeah.
Okay.
And?
right? But like apparently we didn't, or whoever was running that tournament didn't get it cleared, and so like a police officer walks in and is like, hey guys, so what you're doing is technically gambling, so I'm gonna have to ask you to stop.
dang.
So
That
make sure
was-
it's
Yeah, dude.
make sure running a league is with prize money, right? If you're doing like a buy-in
legal stuff
and
is
with prize
very
money,
complicated.
make sure
I see.
you get it fucking cleared.
With gambling, now, the reason why they see it as gambling is because you have a buy-in. If you didn't have a buy-in, it would be different.
Yeah.
Again, like this is a moment where you call Saul Goodman and you ask him if it's all good, man. Like, it's complicated. Skirting around the law can mean two words that are not mentioned or that you don't say when you're, running your event. Or that's why contracts are so important, because you want to make sure that the details are correct. Double check it. Go to professional.
That might be a good way to do another hard pivot if we're talking about contracts.
Go ahead.
I'm
just feeding it to you, aren't I?
Wait, I don't know if that was
Speaking
I
of
think you
feeding
said
it to us, we're going to talk about
I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase it, but I think we would be a little remiss to not discuss a little bit about maybe the stuff that's happened in the past couple of days regarding LG. Just the past, like, the things that I didn't get the chance to say in a video on the internet as kind of like a general summary, which I think was mostly everyone who is already in the scene, like social media managers or general managers or CEOs, saying we have never had a problem with the way that Ubisoft have been in communicado with us at any point. Mm-hmm. And it's been interesting to see that everyone has had their perspectives on who is to blame kind of shift around a little bit. Everyone had a lot of focus towards the Ubi side of things very early on because, if Ubi is the reason why the players can't play, then they are very clearly the problem. But then everyone has slowly started to come around more to the idea that maybe it's the orgs that are the issue. And then with the T1 news coming out about the exact details of their lawsuit yesterday, I think everyone's kind of like, well, now we just, like, orgs are the issue, and that was kind of the general sentiment that I saw a little on Reddit, a little on Twitter, and it's made it interesting to be like, well, if it's not the publisher, then can we really, like, squarely place blame on one person in the situation? And I think the answer is no. I think everyone has a whole bunch to bring to the table in terms of making this a problem, and if I were to say, it's just one side or the other, then one, it looks awkward, because the players themselves are also in the middle of this, and you're figuring out how much blame to place on them, and it's like it's a whole big cacophonous mess. And I wish we'd get a statement sooner rather than later.
Yeah, so people love, like, throwing around this word like, I wish there was more communication. And great, but what does the word communication mean in this case? Because just saying communicate better doesn't actually do anything.
I mean, from what I've heard, there's been a lot of communication. What there hasn't been a lot of are press releases.
Mm-hmm.
If the communication just meant public transparency, then that's different than saying, I wish there was better communication from, like, the orgs to Ubisoft or something. Like, I think when people say, you're right, that term is pretty nebulous. I don't know if people really know what they want when they say, hey, we want communication, we just want people to talk. Or, like, to who, from who, for what purpose?
Yeah, because no company, like Ubisoft or any other, would just go and talk about this stuff publicly just like that without consulting the other teams that are also part of this whole thing. If you ask me, I don't represent Ubisoft, and I don't really want to represent the big company, like, anytime soon.
Sure.
But it only makes sense that if you have so many different teams that are invested in your league, then when you make a general press release, you want it to also encompass things that everybody understands are 100% true and that everybody's on the same page, which takes time. A lot of people also from these orgs said, hey, it's not so complicated to work with Ubisoft. And they said, was it Zach from Dark Zero was talking about it? He's like, yeah, we've been talking about this since September.
Yeah,
this is not you can't feasibly tell me that you can run something like this and tell the teams literally at invitational, like, hey, this is what's happening in June. Bye, dude. This is something
we saw in fucking September. Like, I think it was literally Zach was tweeting.
Yeah, he said,
hey, just had a great meeting with Ubisoft about the future of CG Sports.
He wasn't the only one. I swear
I think
I saw
fucking Unit Sean, who's one of the heads of Space Station. He was also saying the same thing.
Navi's general manager tweeted about it too.
Was tweeting about it. Like, a lot of people were like, not the orgs themselves, not their main Twitter, but, like, if you follow the people in the orgs, they're like, really excited for the future of CG Sports. Had a great meeting with Ubisoft. Like, all this kind of stuff, right? And what I'm seeing is a lot of orgs that were excited for the future of CG Sports, and a lot of orgs that were tentative on what their role would be in that future and whether or not they wanted to be in that future.
Yeah.
Right?
Fair enough.
I think just because there's been a lot of discussion on sort of the differences, Evil geniuses wanted to leave.
Yeah, I mean, look, didn't they build like a brand new HQ and area in Seattle?
In Seattle, yes.
Yep.
Very recently.
Yep.
Like,
Evil Geniuses had last year. They had a huge corporate shakeup where they had someone come in, the CEO. I believe she used to work in like one of those. If I'm remembering correctly, I believe she used to work in one of those chop shop hedge funds. They used to buy companies and sell them for parts.
I think she was a manager of something. Yeah. This might be worthy of a Google.
Right. And so that corporate culture changed because of that. And there's probably a refocus and a restructure of priorities. And, you know, she was looking, this Evil Geniuses team, this isn't doing well. Do we want to continue into this? What's a good time to exit? And with this restructuring, I can only imagine she was like, yeah, let's just wash our hands. Right? This is the time. And I think the difference between something like that and something like Luminosity, where Luminosity was like, we don't want to. We want to get a lot of perks, but we don't want to spend a lot of money. So let's go into negotiations about that. And Ubisoft and Luminosity went into a lot of negotiations. They butted heads. Ubisoft had a vision for what Luminosity was going to be. Luminosity had a vision for what Ubisoft was going to say. They went at it. Negotiations fell apart. Luminosity took their ball and went home.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. It's almost like Ubisoft just stood firm. LG called their bluff. Ubi still said no. And then LG went, fine, this just really isn't worth it.
Yeah,
because
and I think you have to tell your players that you're going to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're betting the farm, you have to tell the fucking animals.
Yeah, and you know what? This is as much as I feel with the players, and I won't talk about my own experience in this, but I'll just say that I really understand the situation, like immensely. I think better than most people in my position. But this is not Ubisoft's job, no matter how dire it is, as a position for a player to be like, you know, holy shit, this is really big. It is not Ubisoft's job to go over your organization's head and tell you, what is essentially the lowly farmer, what to do. This is not their job, not their responsibility, and it would be them stepping out of bounds. If they did that and this information went to the organization can go to others and also say, hey, this is what Ubisoft did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, and that doesn't reflect well on you. So
and then the difference between that and something like Rec was very much invested. Rec wanted to continue to be invested, and Rec is a young esports organization, which means they have a lot of angel investors who expect returns on their money. So when the money doesn't keep coming back, like it's happening now with a lot of the esports leagues shutting down and prize money's going lower and lower because of the situation going on with the global pandemic, what's happened is Rec is like, fuck, we've run out of money. And it's very obvious that everyone at Rec loves Rec and wants to continue working with Rec. And Rec really, really, really tried very fucking hard to make sure that this team got a deal. Right? This wasn't the players going out of their way to be like, we need a new org. This was Rec, Ubisoft, and the players all going, we need to fucking save this because Rec is sinking.
Yep.
Right, we need to find y'all a lifeboat.
You would think about other orgs too.
Well, you would, I think, but
because
Rec just
those others should have known it months ago.
Investment, yeah. So
I mean,
it's nice to know that. I guess it's almost like, well, they made a good impression with Ubisoft before, saying, "Hey, we've run into a snag. We did not intend for this to happen. We wanted to go forward." But just like them telling that to Ubi was kind of enough for Ubi to go, all right, fine. If they can find an org, then we'll let the players keep their spots. Like, because everybody on Rec seems like they don't have anything bad to say about the organization as a whole. Yeah. Players would keep playing for it if it was still an option. Like, there wasn't a plan for them to evacuate unless it came to it, and it came to it.
I mean, so, I think the social media manager just like came out and said, yeah, I'm basically doing my job for free right now because I like this org, and even if they don't pay me, I still want to continue doing this. because these are a great group of guys, and I want to make like, and this was in reference to an Era Eternity tweet, right, where it's like, we're looking to get back into Rainbow Six, and someone tagged like Team Reciprocity, and like the social media guy was like, no.
We'd like our players to be paid.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yep.
You can only pay me in so much G Fuel.
Oh my god. Just the fact. Okay, I don't want to put you in the limelight just in case G Fuel wants to sponsor this podcast, but
sure.
Man, I am. I don't get it. It's such an American thing. It just doesn't. It flies over my head. I don't get it.
It doesn't add up. Not even from an American standpoint. Just from a business standpoint, that's not how you do things. But, Rec getting into Ubi's good graces is enough reason for them to stay. I think the thing that a lot of people are overlooking, whether it be like a problem within Ubi for having the new system set up the way that they want, which is the reason why LG and EG like said no, we're out, but they don't communicate that in a good way to the players that they have. No one wants to put anything on the players themselves, because as far as it, like the internet at large is concerned, they've earned their spot. They found a way either through Challenger League or through, in the case of the guys on Evil Geniuses, some of them made it to like every season of Pro League through like Go4s back when that was a thing. And that was the only way that you had to progress into PL, was like, okay, well, we'll win these. I don't remember if that's exactly how guys like NVK and Young made it through, because I know not all of them were in Pro League from the first season. But the point is, they made it, so their spot should be kept. And no one is putting anything on them specifically, because I think it's hard to find fault for. I think the only real thing you could say was a problem in this case is, I guess, maybe just the way that Hyena reacted to it might have been the only thing you can fault anyone for. And that's not even, that's more to say that his career in esports is in jeopardy because of the response that he issued and the way that he did it. And the how not flamboyant, but how I guess boisterously he's defending, recklessly. That's a good way to put it.
Recklessly, yeah.
With all due respect to Hyena, it's admirable what he did, but it's almost like it feels like it could very well be for nothing if the situation just kind of goes nowhere. Like when Flynn got blacklisted, that was different.
If I was in the same position, I don't know necessarily that I would have done. I might not have done that, but I
would have complained.
I would have absolutely rioted. Are you kidding me?
Let's give this a hard look at comparing it to something that is actually happening right now. The players from the Overwatch League Vancouver team.
Yep.
Oh, here we go.
That are owned by the Canucks, right?
They're owned by the Canucks and Luminosity Games.
Wait. Let's continue. So the Vancouver Canucks, obviously, is the hockey team running out of Vancouver. Now, they have their esports division that is into Overwatch. So they manage the Overwatch League team. Who manages the Overwatch League team and the esports division and the Canucks? Well, it just happens to be Luminosity Gaming, based out of Toronto, Canada. So things apparently coming to light where the players are protesting, complaining about payments, complaining about delays, complaining about shit working conditions, all things like that. And in that case, understandable. That's how you go and protest it. You say, our conditions are not working well, we are in jeopardy, and this is what all of this is happening. We're lost. We don't know where to go, and we really appreciate it if someone could help us. If you do something like that, then people will always stick by your side, because you didn't break anything. You said the things that concern you. You were very direct in them, and you're looking for help. Whereas if you just come out and get it to the point where people genuinely spam and attack people that work at Ubisoft, specifically the NCSA division, for all of this, it boggles my mind. I just don't understand that. I think it's immense abuse of power, and that power slowly wanes. And unfortunately, in these situations, what happens is that the first person to utter the word and start striking first is the person that usually is in a more advantageous position from an argument perspective. And
Right, yeah.
I'm not a fan of the whole situation. It was handled terribly from start to end. It's not even ended, obviously, but it would have been better if people that have problems, and this is for everybody out there, if you go to your peers, other players, casters, whatever, and you want to open a bridge of communication, maybe get somebody to help you. Also, this is something for organizations. Please train your players to understand how to speak about these things. Just going on and saying, oh, he's spitting facts, facts and logic, that's bullshit. That's not how it works. There's a certain way to speak to get your point across, which does not have to involve just flailing around like a marionette. That's not right.
Mm-hmm. I think
a lot of people think like blunt honesty is usually the only form of honesty, but you're absolutely right. You can say it in a much more eloquent fashion, to the point that you run considerably less of a risk of pissing people off when you do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think I was talking about this like a year ago, even.
Social media training, it's never gonna happen, dude. There's so many pro players.
I was literally talking about this a year ago with fucking Jess, and she's like, do you have any idea the amount of shit that I have to stop my players from doing because they don't have fucking social media? Like Dark Zero, bless them. They brought in a Merrill Lynch financial analyst to like teach these players how to like be financially literate, which I think, not specifically Merrill Lynch, but I think you really need to teach esports players how to be fucking financially literate, because their careers are on average like a year, 6 months.
That's why they make way more money than people think, because your career stops 3 years if you're lucky.
That's it.
3 to 5 years is their maximum. Same thing goes for talent. Usually you're not working for long. You make more money, but in return you get a way shorter career. So you have to play it smart. You
need an exit. You need a fiduciary, a financial, not a financial advisor, a fiduciary, and you need all this stuff. But what else you need is you need some fucking 45-year-old chain-smoking PR guy just sitting there going like, you tweeted what?
You fucking idiot.
Right? He's just sitting there like, I'm sorry, you wanted to tweet what? Okay, look, I'm gonna teach you fucks how not to absolutely shit the bed, right? You need some guy who like used to work for Monsanto, just like evil corporation people, teaching these guys how not to say things like, yo, damn, I really need that titty tonight, and you're just like, stop tweeting, please, God.
Honestly, dude, holy shit. Okay, which teams are they? There's some teams that would be posting like, and I just see this at like 8 in the morning for me, so I know it's like 2 in the morning for them.
I mean,
and
United?
It's like, I'm not gonna name names, but it's people that are like, yo, man, it really do be like that, and it's just like a sad, feels bad man, like, style face, sitting in bed crying, and you're like, what did you just? What did you just? Are you 14, man? Like, what? Come on, man! Like, just don't post that. Like, you shouldn't post that. Come on,
there are a lot of
man.
people that want to use Twitter as like a personal blog kind of thing, which is the way that I use it, but that's because I'm not signed to any contract. I don't represent anybody except myself. I can get away with that kind of stuff. Yeah. But if you are, for lack of a better word, a representative of the brand that you play esports for, like, how you need to know when it's appropriate to rein it in. And I think
there's a reason Fabian got constant media bans.
Yeah, because he acted like an ass.
Because he like say what you want about someone like Canadian, right? In game, he's a fucking tyrant. He's sitting there going like, you piece of shit, I fucking ate you for fucking breakfast. Now go home to your mother and cry about how terrible you are. Quit this game, right? But the second he gets on stage, oh, I had a great time playing today. I'm really happy. These guys are great opponents. I consider them all my friends. I'm lucky to be in this scene. I'm just really excited to be here, right? That's what we call a media-trained professional, right? Fabian gets up there and goes, I don't wear socks. I don't wear shoes because this is my fucking house and I'm going to eat them all for breakfast. Right into Matt Andrews' mic. Don't do that, please. God, Jesus Christ. That's why we don't have good advertisers.
I get it. It's funny. It's funny. It's hilarious. Haha, fair enough. But there's a certain point where it's like, leave this to some social media posts, Yeah. I'm completely fine. When Fabian goes up and tweets like, I am gonna take a dump over this team. And personally, I see this and I'm like, this is fucking hilarious. He got dumpstered, great. Of course.
Right.
What was the quote from the Raleigh Major when he was talking about fours? Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie, they played absolute fucking shit. Yeah. And he says that into, God bless Golden Boy. He says that into Golden Boy's mic, and you can just tell he goes,
Golden
I was
Boy's
not
just
expecting.
sitting there like, wait, hold on, what did I just sign a contract for?
Poor
Are
man,
you serious?
Dude.
Like,
look.
God bless Golden Boy, because now he's with AEW, so he gets to do that all day, right?
Oh, yeah. God bless the man.
Yeah.
I wish he would come back if he didn't say he'd been flamed too hard.
Dude, it's just the public it's always the public. This is my problem, is that there's some things that people shouldn't know about. I'm all for transparency, but there are some things without understanding the context and the nuance sometimes can get very personal in a way that people can't understand it. It's like if I told you, I hate Chowderhead. Yeah, which I don't. I love Chowder.
I'm going to clip that and use that as a subscriber notification on Twitch. I hate Chowderhead. Thank you. Thank you for the soundbite.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll send you an invoice. But
thank you.
If I say that, if people just pick it up, they're like, "Oh, what's the context behind this?" They don't know. Like, "Oh my God, Milosh hates Chowderhead," and suddenly it's just no context Milosh kind of Twitter account without understanding the reasons why. Maybe it's a joke. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's definitely not. Maybe it's super serious, and you don't know the context. You don't know the story. Maybe Chowder did something to me that is so horrendous that it will stick to me for ages. So, and I can't explain it as well without going too much into detail. And there is something as too much detail. You get lost in it. I think people should not get every piece of every single detail. They should get the summation. This is what happened. You don't always need to understand and know why something happened, because a lot of times it's too deep to dig through. There are details that should be known and all of that, but man, there's an
example of this that I think is really good, which is there was a player cut for very personal reasons, and there was a very serious interpersonal relationship issue that couldn't be overcome between two players, and when the team and the org cut him, the message that was posted wasn't like, these two players have beef, so one of them had to go, right? It was, we respect everything he's done for the team. We thank him for his service. He would be a wonderful asset to any organization who would like to pick him up. He has been cut with immediacy, and we wish him luck in his further endeavors, right? That's how you can tell that an organization is media trained, because they're very matter of fact. They give you exactly what you need and nothing that you want, right?
Yeah.
So people have been wondering, for years, why did he get cut? And I know why he got cut, and I'm not going to say it, but there is a very, very fucking good reason why these esports orgs don't tell people why they got cut, because that's not their place.
Yeah, I mean, some things that if people were to know, then they would understand why these changes happened, but it would also probably hurt the careers of the players that were cut way more than, you don't want to hurt them. It's not a fit. Fair enough. That's it. You don't want to hurt these people and their livelihoods. They're still good players. But
I mean, as long as they're not I don't know, DMing 14-year-olds for feet pics, I don't think it's an organization's responsibility to there are reasons to be we've heard about the sexual assault allegations about this player and we're cutting him, right? That's fine to do, but it's not we heard this guy you can't, and this is a Seinfeld reference, so no one in any audience is going to understand it. Right?
All right.
When you cut a player for a George Costanza reason, you don't want to say the George Costanza reason. George
Fair
Costanza
enough.
famously broke up with a lot of women for stuff like, I don't like the way she chews broccoli. She eats the florets first, and then she holds the little stem and eats that, right? Like, just really stupid and angry. Like, she snorts when she laughs, right? He would break up with women for, like, all of these, like, insane little reasons. And I don't think it's, a lot of people's responsibility to give out why they George Costanza'd someone. Like, oh, his elbows were too pointy and he didn't fit in the jersey. He's out, right? Like, but I really do think that there needs to be a lot, and I think this hyena thing has really shown it, that there are orgs that need better media training because, Luminosity has great media training because they haven't said shit about the Vancouver Titans situation, and they haven't said shit about the Rainbow Six Siege situation, because the best thing they can do now is batten down the hatches, just wait till this blows over.
Yep.
Right?
Nobody's going to remember it 2 weeks from now.
As soon as that new league starts up, who's going to remember it? Right? But
Exactly.
What you don't want to do is era it, right?
Yeah,
Because
this is like the C9 way of doing it when they kicked off the whole squad,
Yeah.
I
C9
get
dropped
it.
their roster and then like 3 months later picked up a new one. Right? And everyone's just like, what the fuck?
and
It
arguably
rubbed
a way
everyone the
better
wrong
one.
way, but Cloud9 now has that roster. They've had it for a year at this point, it feels like, and no one's like, oh, okay, well, they have a team. We kind of forget about Cloud9 in North America now because it's not a big deal, but it's blown over, like, completely. Like, if anyone had any weird feelings about C9 around that situation, I think the majority of them are like, it's in the past. It's like, whatever.
Yep.
So the problem is, if LG can say nothing and EG can say nothing, from a PR standpoint, that is the correct move.
No, I think EG put out a thing that's like, we wish our players well.
Oh, well, yeah, they did. But I think in terms of talking about it further, like whether or not the allegations of weird communication or the methods in which the players found out that they weren't, being in the scene anymore, things like that, they can't necessarily say something like that. But the problem is UB can't not say something in this situation because they're the ones that are going to be moving forward. It's their league. LG and EG are gone, so they don't need to say anything else about it. They've said their piece. They've said, we're not in the scene anymore.
EG's entire statement is, today we say farewell to a Rainbow Six Siege as we exit the game. Our time together was nothing short of villainous, and we thank each and every one of our fans for cheering us on. We are extremely grateful to all of our players for their hard work and are proud of the success that they brought to the evil geniuses and the true embodiment of the live evil lifestyle. We only wish them good evil things in the future. This decision wasn't easy, but our grand plans for world domination now move us in a different direction. We will continue to work closely with our R6 players to help them map out their futures.
That's all they need to say.
Yep.
That is all they need to say.
That is a fantastic thing, because we are leaving R6, we are not abandoning our players, and we are making sure that, like, we as an org are moving in a different direction, but we're not going to just drop them, right? Would you like me to read Luminosity's statement?
Go ahead.
Would you like me to read Luminosity's statement again?
I hate you so much right now.
I knew it. I'm like, wait a second. There's no statement. What is he saying? God, he baited you so hard, dude. Holy crap.
Yep, I'm gonna let that one slide. Get your lulls out, chat. I hate this so much.
Oh my god.
You think I'm gonna memorize which statement was said by which org? No.
It's your job that you decided to do for free.
I decided to do for free that YouTube still doesn't pay me for.
So the what you need to do is you need to put out a release. You need to say, this is what's happening, or this is what we're allowing you to know is happening, and this is how we're making restitution. Right? Evil geniuses. We are leaving Siege. We are going to work with our players to find a solution to their current issues. Right?
Yeah.
And their issues might be, maybe they become evil genius signed streamers, right? And they go into content creation, or maybe they, evil geniuses might be starting a Valorant team and they might try out for that, right? It's they're going to work with their players to figure out what to do. Maybe they retire. Maybe they help these players figure out what they're going to do in their retirement, which is to say, what job are they going to get after they leave esports, right? So all that kind of stuff. What you don't want to do is put out a statement like bringing it back, Infinity Esports.
Oh my god.
We're making this full circle. Okay.
Yeah, don't be a smug asshole.
Yeah, basically.
Right? Or else you'll end up like Infinity Esports or Fabian, and you just get shit on.
I guess the point I was trying to bring it back to is if LG and EG can say nothing, Ubisoft needs to, they are now the ones that have to not front the bill, but they're looking to bring all of the esports system in a totally new direction, and for people to still have questions about that.
So to be specific, what we're specifically discussing is Ubisoft's North American Rainbow Six Siege esports division, right?
Yeah.
Something like the, and here's the other topic we wanted to talk about today, something like what's happening in Brazil right now.
Oh, yes.
Ubisoft has made a statement on that. It's a very legalese statement that says we will see how this situation unfolds, and they're trying to basically be a neutral party in this, which I think is a reasonable position to take, because this is going to turn into a firefight and they're jumping for cover. Right? So what's happening in Brazil right now with Team One Esports
oh, good lord.
is, what was it like? Basically, Team One Esports had a gaming house. And in this gaming house, which was, 450 square feet?
I think it said square meters in the press
250
release.
square meters.
250 square
So
meters.
that's something like 2,500 square feet.
Yeah.
2,700 square feet.
So in this,
Which, for reference, my house is about that much, and it's just me, parents, and 2 younger brothers, and we have like a room apiece, and there's not enough space for like the 17 or 16 people or something that they said that they had working for them in that space.
And they had a gaming area. They had them living in the space as well. This is enough to live, but if you want to have like a lounge area, you want to have a kitchen, you want to have a, like a meeting area.
I mean, what was it? It was the Rainbow Six team, it was some of the Rocket League players, and it was the women's CS?
It was, hold on, this included 7 R6 players and staff, 2 managers, 2 League of Legends players, and the whole women's CS team.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I don't want to be one of the girls in that one.
How do you do that, man?
I don't know, man. Look, honestly, it's so shitty, that sort of situation, and then you don't pay them, you have them in worse conditions, because they were talking about like moldy areas, bad computers, bad internet, everything.
It is hot in Brazil too.
Yes,
so to stuff 17 people in a house is one thing. To stuff 17 people in a house where it is tropical as all get out is not the play.
It is tropical, and you have what? Imagine the heat.
The computers, dude.
14 people, all of the computers, all of the appliances. There's no AC system in fucking planet Earth that can keep up with that.
You need a central air conditioning system, and even then, you will still feel the heat. You will need some extra air conditioning that is independent within that place. And I'm not even an expert. I'm just someone that lived in a hot place in the world. Dude, having here like 2 computers that are running with 2 monitors in this apartment right now that is an open space with just the fridge, a few appliances, and everything, it doesn't matter, dude.
And
an air conditioning unit would barely dent this.
And in Lebanon, it was very dry as well.
It depends on where you are, but yeah,
right.
It can be pretty dry, yeah.
In Brazil, my friend is telling me, it's like half the year we walk through pea soup.
Yeah. No, I've been there in this time,
right?
And it's pain in the ass. It's not a fun place to be.
Other complaints included the working environment was like a garage full of mold. So I imagine that place was probably not very well furnished or, kept well. There was
previous
a lack
owners
of
just like,
adequate internet connection and food.
Which, this is the part that I think pisses me off the most, because if they're being paid so little from their contracts already, then you can assume that, oh, basic things that we will take care of is something you will not have to take care of, so we won't pay you enough to do it yourself, kind of idea.
Yeah.
So you're not paying for your house, you're not paying for your internet, you're not paying for your sustenance. We will take care of all that stuff. Which, if it's mentioned in the contract, sweet. But if they were paid like the equivalent of US, like what, $89 a month or something, and this isn't taken care of, that kind of pisses me off.
Yep.
Like, that's the overall bigger argument to be made here.
$89, dude. Life in Brazil and Sao Paulo is relatively expensive. Not in comparison to like a major city in North America or in Europe, but it's basically on the same level as like living in Warsaw or in Katowice, because the Brazilian real is very close to the Polish zloty, so the living conditions and the expense of life is pretty up there. And if making $1,000 in Brazil is considered like pretty decent. Same thing here in Poland, when most people are making half of that if you're in a decent job, where you can maybe sustain yourself correctly. But when you tell me that they were getting paid that little to be a pro league team and in BR6, means that for me as an org, I am providing them with the best thing of whatever I can get. Food is completely on me, and I get no cut out of their prize pool as well. They get all of that money. In my opinion, it's already a shitty contract that you pay them so little, and they try to bump it up to what is a reasonable, like the minimum you should be paid anyways. If you're a pro league team, you should be paid around, depending on your region, but you should at least be paid as a player a minimum of what is considered a livable wage in your area, a livable medium wage in your area. If you live in Europe, you should be making nothing less than 2,000 euros a month. And then, you factor in taxes and all of that, even then you should be making around $2,000 after tax. So that's how it should be, because as we mentioned before, these are teams, these are players that will have a very small career in comparison to any other profession. You're not someone that walks into this, studies, and then goes on to do this for the next 50 years. You're someone that has a tops life expectancy of 5 years in this entire system.
There's a reason you joke when you turn, what is it, like 22, you get stuck on thermite?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's understandable. Same thing goes for sports. A lot of sports players make so much money, but most people that are in sports don't make it to a career at 30. They're not still playing at 30 years old. They probably moved on to something else.
Yeah, the whole idea behind an esports time is more like, it's kind of like half of what you could expect from maybe a standard, like traditional sports athlete, like athletic athlete, in the same sense of like, who's a good example that I can use? There's two that I can use. There's Pasha Biceps from CSGO, who played until he was what, like 28 or 30 or something. Like, he played for a good long time within the CSGO system.
Yeah, it's like him and Zeus.
Yeah, or that. In a comparable case, I can use someone I actually have a jersey for sitting over in my closet. Peyton Manning, who played for several different teams in the NFL. But hold on. Point is, shut up. He played for about 20 years. Pasha was in the system for maybe 10. So both of them were considered like really old for the systems in which they played. So
yeah. Pasha played close to 15, and now he's a big streamer. He's a big quote unquote influencer, but he's also a big personality in Poland. Living in Poland, his face is on a fucking billboard, like a 10-minute walk away from me now. It's completely normal. He goes on TV regularly. He's a big gaming personality here. He's a big deal in Poland.
Pasha Biceps is basically like, I guess the closest thing I could say, and this is not like an insult, Polish fucking ninja.
Yeah. He's the biggest
right,
deal in esports in Poland.
I mean, Pasha was and is like basically the greatest success story of esports in Poland, right? Small town guy, father was a fucking baker, right? Comes out, just absolutely slams people for 15 years, retires with grace, becomes this massive media influencer, and no one has a bad thing to say about him.
Yep.
Right? And then I think then, hard pivot from no one has a bad thing to say about them back to Team One's response, which I thought was interesting. So Team One gave a response, and it's in two parts, and we'll discuss those parts separately, because I think if we discuss those parts as a whole, there will be too much rage built up inside of us.
Fair enough, go ahead. I didn't read these, so this is the first time.
Team One,
Cheddar, are you reading off the same CGG article that was circulating yesterday? Okay, cool, just checking.
Team One, wanting to support the players' growth and with their knowledge, paid for 3 trips in less than a year that cost about $34,000. For the company, for that, there was a replanning of payments of said prize money, always with the complete consent of the players. So, something interesting about this is when I talk to players, and I'm like, oh, what percentage does the org take? And, it could be anywhere from 15 to 50, depending on, we have
50, they're scamming you.
Yeah, 50,
over 20,
they're scamming you. Yeah.
Over 20 is like a big no-no.
Right, but I have never fucking heard of, oh, we're going to give you a loan to go to tournaments. We're expecting you to pay us back for that.
You're investing in your fucking players. They're your employees. It's like you invested when you work somewhere and you single out specific employees that are very good at what they're doing, and you want them to be even better for you as an investment. You send them on, like, you pay for their college sometimes, you pay for courses or some stuff that they might have outside of work, and it's your investment if you're in your employees. It might be something that convinces them to stay and work with you for the next couple of years, but you have to decide, is it worth it? But when you decide on it, you can't just go around and tell them, hey, give me my money back. Well, you invested in me.
Yeah.
Also, just because it's written in the contract and you signed it, doesn't mean that your contract is immensely abusive and it cannot be easily contested in a court of law.
Like, I have
people don't understand that. Just because it's just written on a contract doesn't mean that it can be immensely abusive and you can't file a lawsuit against it.
I have been following esports, like, seriously for about 5 years, but before that, I was a competitive sailboat racer. And so, and I know that's the whitest thing you'll hear today.
I was going to say, that is the most East Coast thing I've ever heard in my life.
So, when I would go out on these, like, there's this race every year called the Panerai Classic Yacht Regatta.
That's a whale of a name. I love that.
Panerai watches start at like $5,000, so it's a very serious race.
All right.
And so, when you're racing, you get a reputation, and people come and they say, "Hey, I need this guy. What do I do?" And people would say, "Oh, you should get these two guys. Me and my father. I would be, brute force heavy lifting, and he would be the navigator." And we did that for like 4 years. It was really fun, right? But it was never, hey, we want you to come out to this race in, like, Maine, and you're going to need to pay for yourself to get there. Or I can give you some gas money, but I expect it back. It's, hey, come up to Maine. I rented a hotel. Come on. Get up here, right? I know this woman, and I'll say her name because she's great. Maureen McKinnon, gold medal Paralympian, first woman to win the gold medal for the United States in the Paralympics. And if you were to tell me that someone told Maureen to, hey, if you want to go to Beijing, I expect my money back at the end of the trip, right? If her sponsors told her that, she'd run him over with her fucking wheelchair. Right? I would be livid. I would fucking start swinging if someone told me, yeah, you want to go to that tournament? I expect my money back. We're going to take that out of your salary. Fuck that. I'm throwing punches.
Part of me wonders if they didn't have an agent. If when they went into negotiations with Team 1, like for the Challenger League Season 9, back before they qualified for PL, if when they're being paid $89 a month, that they just didn't have anybody to like help them negotiate on a better term deal. Because... Dude,
$89. Holy shit.
Dude, that's great. I've never been paid professionally for esports before, and these guys are my age or younger? Yeah. As
a CL team, yeah, but the moment you hit Pro League, this is why you should always ask your peers about this. Mm-hmm. It's you're playing in Challenger League. If you're in CL, I think you should be paid a bit of cash. Depends on the org you're playing with, but don't expect that you're going to get paid $1,000 to play with a CL team. No. It's way too volatile, especially in North America. But for you as a team in Brazil playing in CL, you say, okay, well, you know what? We'll play under your banner in Challenger League for 89 USD. In Brazil, 89 USD is still like it's good pocket change. It's good pocket money. You won't say no to it. Fair enough.
It's a few $100.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's like 400 reais or something like that.
Yeah,
not too shabby. So you say, okay, I'll take it, but in that contract, you have to say that we renegotiate if we make it to Pro League for a way higher salary, an actual Pro League level salary. And that's how you do it. And if your org says, no, we don't want that, then you tell them to fuck off and you won't sign with them. It's better to not have an org than have one that's going to constantly fuck you over, because in the future, you're going to remember that. It's not worth it. 100% not worth it. There's so many people that get fucked over because they just don't know. They don't know what's better. They don't know what's best for them. They just want something, and no matter what they find, it's going to be this amazing thing that's going to help them out so much. I mean, and yeah, sure, but is it worth it?
Take a look at going back a few months, Pittsburgh Embers.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. That's a whole other can of worms to unlock. But is the point the more that the guys on Embers took the Embers deal because it was just an org that they could attach themselves to, and they went, oh, this is better than being orgless? Is that kind of what you're...
It's not worth it. It is 100%
that's what
not
I'm saying.
worth
it's
doing
not
that.
Worth
right. I was asking him if that was the point he was trying to make. Right.
Yeah. It's not specifically to that like specific thing, but I've seen it happen with so many other players in the past that it's not worth going through this fight if all you're looking for is an orc. Then in that case, what you're doing is just, you're trying to be part of the dick measuring contest. And unfortunately, this is something that a lot of teams get into. It's a mindset that I believe is immensely shitty, and it's something that is pushed by the fact that you just see so many people that, at least on social media, look very successful to you because your definition of success is all about how much money you can make. So all the things that you're buying, the cars that you're posting, the new gold ice watch that you have on your wrist that's worth 10 grand. And it's just, I think that's an immensely toxic mentality in general, and I won't get into that side too much because it's a philosophy point at that point. But I think that even perpetuating that idea is something immensely toxic when all people are talking about are, look at these Gucci's that I bought, look at all I've done. Some people can do that, but if you're someone at the bottom of the ladder and your only aspiration is to just make a bit of money by playing the game, that's the wrong way to go around it, because you're going to be sorely disappointed. Unless you're really at the top, you're not going to be making money that you could buy a car at the end of the year with. You save your money. It's not worth it. Oh, what's going on?
I had to open my window. I live across from a fire station, so I get this all the time.
They found Jacob.
Okay, I'm like, where's...
They found it. Oh, God. They've been doing this for 11 years. What do we do?
Is he the hot fireman?
I've seen many of them, believe it or not.
Oh, boy. Chowder, are you thinking of moving over?
Chowder, would you...
Why in God's name would I ever move to Colorado?
Look, man, like, I asked Gregory about this, and I think the answer is the free weed.
You know what the best part about moving to Colorado is?
What?
It's not Providence, Rhode Island?
You get to leave Colorado a lot. Like,
God, you're
like
the
it's
worst.
like, what's the most popular thing to do in New Jersey? Leave, right? It's
Yeah, I mean, ask Veli, dude. He's like, yeah, I'm from New Jersey and I just don't. I
can't
lived in
stand
New
it.
Jersey. Yeah, honestly, dude. Oh my God.
I live in the best state in the union, Massachusetts. I'm very proud to say that. It's the best.
Dude.
We're the best. California can go suck a fat one.
Hey.
East Coast, Beast Coast. And that is all I have to say about the subject.
Jesus Christ.
All I can say is just stay away from a very specific part of the United States. Wait, let me Google Maps this so I don't fuck it up immensely.
What, the Bible
Remember,
Belt?
I am
What,
not
the Deep
I am
South?
No, we won't talk about Carolinas.
Okay.
But stay away from New Jersey, but specifically Atlantic City. That place is god fucking awful.
Ah, yes.
New Jersey is the tackiest place I've ever been to in my entire life.
Don't talk about America's
It's-
armpit like that, okay?
Come on, bro.
It's so tacky. It's so tacky. The definition of what is considered like cool and very, how you say, classy is just not.
Well,
No.
I mean, if you think about it this way, it's New Jersey's attempt to out Vegas, in the same way that when you were a kid, you used to put on your dad's shoes and ties and pretend you were a boss man.
I never did that.
Oh, right, I'm sorry. You came out of the womb at 17 with a full beard and just sat there
No,
and went...
With a scarf on.
Yeah, with the scarf.
It's all right. It's all right. It's not like it's up there for the whole internet to enjoy now.
No.
We're good.
By the way, if
What
you
do you mean? Scarves are cool.
if you ever get bored, go to Instagram.com/MiloshTheMedic and just scroll all the way down.
Milosh Casts.
Milosh Casts, sorry.
Casts.
Instagram.com/MiloshCasts. Go all the way down to the bottom and start looking up because this man has never deleted a photo in his life. And
I hid a lot of photos. I still have a lot of like super
the ones
old
that
stuff.
are up are the one of you with like your
Scrolling.
shit-eating grin at that 30 Seconds to Mars concert. Is
Still
just,
scrolling.
Oh, it's so good.
Wait,
I almost used
let
that
me
one.
see. Wait,
Still
that's
scrolling.
a very specific thing. A grin at the 30 Seconds to Mars concert.
Yeah.
Ooh, one from 2013 with
Oh.
an Ibanez. Oh, okay. All right. Let's go.
Oh my God! I look like a freaking baby in this one. Okay,
Is that bass guitar a V? What is this? Oh my word.
dude, I used to help out with a music shop near near where I lived in Lebanon, and I would just go and jam every now and then.
Dude, I absolutely would if you're right there.
And yeah, that was part of it, that I could use my teacher's guitars, and man, that was pretty fun.
That's dope.
It's
Yeah.
some of the shit we like on that Instagram page is just so fucking cringy, but Instagram on computers is just useless, so I don't want to go through everything and take stuff out. I put filters on fucking everything. Why?
Oh my god,
Why?
you put everything. Like literally
I
everything.
Why? I don't know. What? Don't ask me.
You even have an artsy photo of you taking a mirror selfie.
Dude, you can tell exactly when my Instagram account started to become actually curated. You can immediately
keep scrolling
tell.
through it and find the time. I'm looking through. There's a picture about. I thought that was beans. That's tomatoes. Let's.
Yeah, baby tomatoes.
Yep.
Dude, look, I actually started curating this account, honestly, since what was it? Around TwitchCon last year, TwitchCon Berlin.
Yeah.
So pretty much exactly 1 year from now, or 1 year ago, is when I started to curate it, and it was just actually finding right pictures and posting them. But it's a lot of experimentation. This was social media in general. So after a while, I think I got a decent hang of it. But it's just you can't really post much now because it's got to be throwbacks. And what are you gonna do with throwbacks all the time? You know.
If all you're posting is throwbacks because you don't have anything else to put up there, then yeah.
Yeah, throwbacks to when things were nice and we could actually live like normal human beings. Yeah, I mean, do I want to make people sad? No.
I don't know.
I'll make myself sad.
You want to talk about pics making people sad? I'm looking at a photo of Alfema attempting to cook, and it's bad.
Oh boy.
Oh, also, can I go on a mini rant just real quick?
About what?
Go ahead.
Esports organizations.
Yeah, go ahead.
There is.
We
there
can
is-
do that.
I'm going to talk. I'm going to talk directly to esports organizations. There is one esports organization that I respect immensely, and it's very strange the reason why. Philadelphia Fusion has all of the respect in the world because they hired a chef for their team house.
Nice.
Dude, that's sweet.
That is the way to do it.
Technically, a Rainbow Six teams like Reciprocity has one. They hired Laxing for that. Do you think he's playing?
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is a lot of these kids, and I'm going to say kids, because they're between what, like 18 and 20.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of these kids don't know how to fucking cook. They've been playing video games since they were like 12. You think any of them know how to make a goddamn like healthy meal? So
No.
the Philadelphia Fusion was like, look, we have Korean players, we have American players. We're just gonna hire like a personal chef, and she's gonna make like a nutritious, balanced meal for all cultures, and we're just gonna do this because it's way easier than doing anything else, right?
And it's cheaper than just buying takeout all the day.
And it's cheaper than buying takeout, right? Like, fuck, I remember there was this video of like, I think it was back when 100 Thieves had a team house, and they let like all the Fortnite players live there, and they did like a video walkthrough of it, and it was just like Uber Eats boxes stacked to here.
Dude, you live in that trash,
right?
honestly.
Like, if you have a team house, you should have regularly a financial advisor coming in, talking to your players. You should regularly have a social media guy coming in, talking to your players. You should regularly have a life coach, right? Not a therapist.
I'm checking this off on the things that I know Dark Zero did or did not do, and I'm trying to think if they've done all of these at this point.
Get someone who has experience in being like, I'm going to teach you about motivation techniques. I'm going to teach you about, self-discipline stuff, right? Get someone who can teach these guys like exercise routine. Like get a personal trainer in like once every 2 weeks to be like, I'm going to check your form. This is the exercise equipment I want you to be doing. I'm going to leave you a list of what you need to work out. And then get your players a goddamn chef. I don't give a shit if they're in-house or if they just, come in once a month with fucking a Betty Crocker cookbook and just beat a player to death with it, right?
You don't want to beat your players to death.
Well,
Maybe
sure,
unconscious.
It's a bad return on investment, right? So what you need to do is you need to teach these players how to be self-sufficient, because when you get them, they are 18, they are 19, they are still
babies.
And I'm generalizing here, emotionally underdeveloped idiots. So you need to be their parents. Like, you are paying them inordinate amounts of money, and you need to make sure that they don't like spend it all on hookers and blow. So
they can do it when they retire.
When they're retired, that's not your fucking problem, right? You have a PR team for that.
Anywhere from 6 months to 3 years
they're
down
not
the
our
road,
responsibility. Please fucking forward all questions to their managing agent. That's their managing, right? But, like, that's his problem, not yours. You're the esports org, right? But just basically, as an organization, you are paying them, but also you're their dad.
Yeah.
And their mom. And so when you have these players, like, and this goes for like, and I'm going to say this, and this is probably going to ruin some future opportunities for me with FaZe Clan, but
Okay.
FaZe Clan hired a 14-year-old, which I think is the fucking dumbest thing they could ever do in the history of mankind. Like,
Can you technically hire a 14-year-old?
No, his parents signed the contracts for him when he was 13, right? But
Yeah.
there's been like report after report after report of this guy going like to FaZe parties because he's a member of FaZe Clan. And I don't know if you know who runs FaZe parties, and I don't know if you've ever seen what FaZe Banks looks like, but he looks like what would happen if Post Malone went to rehab, right? The man just absolutely looks like he does like way too much cocaine.
Oh
right?
my God. Okay.
Yeah, we've officially crossed the point of no return now.
You as an esports org have a responsibility to your players to ensure that they live happy, healthy lives while they are signed. Whether you like it or not, your mom and dad. You house them, you pay them, you should be teaching them how to cook, how to clean, and it's good if they know how to do this beforehand because that saves you a shit ton of money if you hire an emotionally developed adult. Right? But you've got to make sure that they fucking know what they're doing. Like a year into their organization. Because, like, the 100 Thieves thing. You walk into a house and you see Uber Eats orders stacked high, you see clothes spread everywhere. This is not an organization. They're paying their players incredibly well. But they are doing nothing but paying and feeding their players.
Dude, people don't understand this, but when child actors get to a certain points in their lives when they're in their mid-20s or, late 20s, early 30s, where they just feel so depressed and people are like, oh my God, this actor just went downhill when their career could have taken up.
Yeah, you remember like when Macaulay Culkin just disappeared for 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the problem. You lose your childhood because all that you were doing is working on this acting thing, and nobody actually helped you to become an independent person that can take care of themselves. You lost your childhood because of it. You made a lot of money, but who gives a shit? Money is not worth everything. You need it. It definitely solves a lot of problems that you might have, most of your everyday problems actually, but it's not something that's going to fix everything. It's not going to help you every time you have an issue. As your life grows, moves on, you're not going to be able to throw cash at everything forever. That's going to run out.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would consider the only well-developed adult esports player in Siege right now is is it Red Groove? No.
The oldest one? Renewals is the old one.
Renewals, yes, the boomer. The literal boomer.
Shut up, goddamn.
I just figured it out. Apparently he's 42?
Yes, he is 42.
Is he?
Yes.
I didn't know that until the match.
At one point, the average age of Chaos was like 27, but if you took out Renewals, it was like 22.
Yeah.
Like, no, it wasn't 22. It was like 19 and a half.
It was so young.
It was,
yeah.
It's like 19,
I think the
19,
average
20, 21, 42.
Like secretly is around my age, like 24, 25, something like that. I know, but I think that's his age. Red Groove is like 21.
18, 19.
Yeah, Crips was the youngest one.
Crips literally left esports to go like, yeah, I'm probably just going to go to college now because that's something I should do.
Yeah, I mean, look, dude, he does whatever he
good
wants.
on him, But, like, when we're talking about esports players, when we're talking about these people who we consider, like, they're up on stage and they're mythologized, we're not talking about, adults.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who probably haven't had much of a childhood because they've been grinding since they were 13, 14. I mean, let's talk about Pasha Biceps. Pasha Biceps has been grinding since he was 10.
Yep.
Back in the days where making a mistake in esports doesn't matter anymore because you might have done this, but it was so long ago that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's too old for anybody to care. It was in a time where esports was in its infancy. You were basically in the kids leagues. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But now the bar is very high, but I think somebody said it on socials because of everything that's been going on, is that you hire these players and give them so much money, and you expect the world of them, but they're not actually trained or qualified to handle even 1% of those expectations.
Yeah. I mean, like, let's take a look at something like the Call of Duty League, right?
Yeah.
Call of Duty League is, at a minimum, a quarter. It was like a $25 million buy-in.
Yep.
It was ridiculous.
Right? These are not...
A buttload of money.
This is not a small amount of money. I can guarantee you, half of the teams in the Call of Duty League are failing their players on, like, very basic things, like teaching them life skills.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because it's not about the money. It's about what you do with the money, right? Like, Philadelphia Fusion is doing things right with the money. They've hired a chef, they've hired personal trainers, they're taking care of their players, right? You look at fuck it, let's look at a soccer team, right? A soccer team is not the manager and the players. You have PT guys, you have nutritionists, you have like water boys, you have people who tend to the stadium, you have like all of this support staff, right? Support staff isn't just analysts and coaches. You could have a mental coach as a support staff, right?
You do an MIBR, didn't hire a team psychologist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And as esports grows, I think this is going to continue more and more. We're going to see more and more as people get team houses.
I was expecting like esports, how do you say, optometrists, but like people that are qualified that work with your physical trainer as, you know, part of your training. Again, you don't have to do this all the time, but having a session every couple of weeks is something that would help a lot. It gives you already it makes you understand the importance of this sort of activity, and just raising that awareness in people sometimes is enough to really open your eyes. Yeah. It's very important.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully no one pulls another Team 1 situation. Otherwise, we're looking into a bit of a players' union thing, because
they should be. Honestly, player union makes a lot of sense.
Yep, it does.
I was talking to a player at Six Invitational, and I was saying, why don't you guys have a players' union? And they said, we didn't really go anywhere. And
I heard that too.
I hope now, right, with the Luminosity gaming thing and the Team 1 esports gaming thing happening, that, like, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to get into a little something called communism. So,
oh boy.
Oh, I'm all with you on this one. Go.
Where's Parker? Let's go.
I'm all with Chowder on this. I'm completely part of this. At least I mean, he's on. Is it part of the Rust Belt? Aren't you in your state?
No.
No. Fair enough. But unions are great. Honestly,
when you look at the power dynamics between something like Ubisoft and something like Canadian, right? It's immense. It's huge. Ubisoft can fucking squash the most famous player in their league like a fucking bug, and there's nothing anyone can do about it, right? That's the power dynamic. But if Canadian were to say, hey Geo, hey Kanto, hey Zig, let's all get together, let's get our teams, and let's all say, hey, this is the issue we're having, and we are prepared to not play unless this issue is fixed. And this isn't like fix the hackers. This is like, we believe that we are unjustly being undercompensated for the labor that we're doing for Ubisoft as part of the esports division, right? Theoretically, I'm sure they're all paid pretty fucking handsomely because I just named some of the bigger figures, right? But when we think about power dynamics, what we're really talking about is the people who create profit and the people who harvest that profit, right? So you have all of these players and all of these orgs, and Ubisoft, right? And there's a huge power difference between these people because they can be cut at any time, basically by orgs or by players. And what's really important in situations like this is, will you stop spamming fucking K-Comrade in the chat? So, Jesus Christ. So, I haven't even said bourgeoisie and proletariat. I'm very specifically not using those words. Oh my god.
Are you just jealous that people aren't using your emotes?
People are using my emotes in here, man. Like, what are you doing?
Chowder, wait.
What are you looking for?
Are you looking for fuck to give?
No, I have an East German tank commander's hat with a hammer and sickle on it. I'm looking for
a Pickelhalber. Why would you have one?
You just don't question. The things that
why would you not?
Why are you asking questions? So
is this a grandpa story or something coming up?
My dad went after the fall of the Berlin Wall, and he bought one from a guy who was very obviously like, "Hi, I'd like to move to the Democratic side now, please. Just buy my uniform," and he bought the hat.
Smart.
Yeah. So basically, the purpose of a players' union is to intercede when someone larger than an individual player would attempt to step on them, right? So when we have situations like this, what's really important is that players act as a union, right? So in a situation like Luminosity, right? What could have happened was something like if they had a players, or Team 1 is probably better. If they had a players union, the players union could distribute literature about the average wage of an esports player in the BR6 system. They could have a basic list of, if you want to be a BR6 team and if you want to have players, here's what we're going to need you to provide, right? And
I think Ubisoft already sets a minimum, maybe like at least in interactions, especially now. You can't just enter the scene by doing this sort of shit,
right? But
you have to have a direct communication with someone, Ubisoft, and of course, having a union is the easiest way to go about it,
right? And so, basically, what a union does, in simple terms, because I've been way over explaining it, is ape strong together. One ape small, many ape big, many ape able crush mountain.
Alone you are a lonely and weak twig, but together we are a mighty...
No.
I didn't say it.
Together, comrades, we will be strong against the capitalist pigs of the West. Multiple comrades all at the same time.
I'm completely with you.
Yeah.
Look, I'm all with you on this. As much as I know that some people's egos in everything will get in the way of things happening, but I also want to caution people because this sort of action happened in Counter-Strike, where one specific caster actually it was more like BM, but it was a funny thing. It wasn't meant in any negative way, like a direct attack, yet people took it that way, and the players refused to ever play in a tournament where they're casted by this person, and he had to basically disappear for months before being able to come back and actually cast something.
So he got blacklisted not by the organization that he would have worked for, but by the players themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he said something that actually objectively, it's like saying, let's say somebody says, from the pro player, starts saying, oh, this Milosh guy said one joke for 5 seconds during the tournament. He's an unprofessional caster. We should never have him anymore. And no player wants, because it's part of the union, we abuse power and say, well, no player now wants to play whenever he's casting. Bam, done. Your career's over, basically. So I really want those people, because remember when we were talking about players not being media trained or having any sort of training and understanding and education about all of this stuff? That also plays negatively into all of this. If they don't have that sort of education, then how much can you trust the decision-making process? You can turn it into a bigger argument where, voting rights and all of that for people that aren't really, opening up to current situations around them and educating themselves to vote correctly.
Sure.
But it's a way bigger deal in this case as well. And I'm not a fan of franchising. Some people talk about it, throw around the word specifically for North America. I despise the franchising system. I think it gives already power. The power dynamics are already skewed so massively against all the players and everybody around it. Now imagine that it was even worse than that, because at any point in time you can disappear and no one can ever do anything about you. No one can bring you back because you've been blacklisted by everyone, because it would be a decision made way higher than you. You can't even contest it.
Yeah, I mean, like the League Players Union is, if I'm remembering correctly, pretty much run by the orgs who bought into that.
Yeah, but the Players Union is still players. I mean, what did North American Players Union say? The North American Players Union said they want to cancel the whole season, even if it was played online. The European side, and you can go, Monte Cristo had a massive thread about this where he was going fucking mental on NA players, and I would 100% if I was part of that scene. And if it ever happened in Rainbow Six, trust me, I would be the first one to do that, because the European side of LEC, which is the EU LCS, was adamant that they would still play everything online, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, they just had their finals, like yesterday, 2 days ago?
Yeah, last night, and Fnatic choked so fucking hard. But spoilers aside, that's why they hired Bikini. So
ouch.
Don't worry about my shirt. Don't worry. Why are you asking about my shirt?
I see what's under it. But if you take a look at it from the perspective of North Americans, they said, we don't want the whole fucking season. It doesn't matter. You could technically say that this entire season that we just had, specifically when we went to the second half and the event was canceled, if teams have gone out and said, yeah, we just don't want to play anymore because it doesn't matter, I would have been fucking furious.
Yeah, I would have been pissed too. That's my attitude towards anybody in Challenger League who is saying that it doesn't matter or are very clearly not competing up to standard. Like, you have an opportunity in the middle of this. You might not go anywhere. You might very well say it doesn't matter for something, but I will wholeheartedly disagree with you at every turn. It matters not for the prize money, but for the opportunity to continue to work on yourself, better your craft, and get your name out there, even if you can't find something tangible at the end for you to go to when you're all said and done.
Yeah. And even if the matches don't really matter, fair enough, dude. Like, we sat back and casted games that were, I have to say, that final LATAM play day, I mean, it was fucking awful. In the middle of the fucking night, casting that, people around me couldn't sleep even. And even my girlfriend was telling me, if there was someone on the other side of this wall that were listening to you, even though I was trying very hard not to make any noise, they would have been fucking pissed. So through all of that, I have cast garbage games that has zero say in anything that happens. There's like $200 on the line.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit. Yet I still end up doing it. If somebody, I can complain about it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I find the excuse to say, like, you know what, I'm just not gonna do it.
Right.
It's fine to complain. Complaining is fine. That doesn't mean that, how I say, you want the thing to actually happen. But you have to actively also keep pursuing a positive, thing in the end, like saying, yeah, you know what, the event can't go forward, but we're happy to keep playing and at least enjoying our time. You think that Rogue were playing to their hearts? Dude, Rogue fucked around the last 3 play days.
They didn't care.
Obviously, 100%, I guarantee you. Dropping, playing Amaru on Villa, dropping down from fucking Skylight. You want to tell me that's a strategy? That's the fuck around. That's it. Nothing more. And you know what? They still won, even though they were fucking around. Because they're having fun, but they're like, you know what? We'll put on a show. Let's see what we can do. And we'll have some serious rounds, but otherwise, let's just let's just play. Whatever. We don't have anything else to do.
Yeah, I mean, what was that? What was that strat they pulled? I think it was the second to last play day, the last round.
Second to last, or let me check. I think
Second
it was
to last or last, whatever. Like,
I think it was Monday. No, it wasn't last. I think it was
When
the
did they bring
Monday before the
Fuse?
last Monday. I think that was the second to last match.
That was
Yeah.
Wednesday.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they just brought fucking Fuse.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
I mean,
I mean, if you
G2
call that a
brought Fuse.
strat, but
I mean, G2 brought Fuse, yeah, but
G2,
G2
brought
also
Tachanka.
brought a bunch of weird shit supporting that Fuse, like Glass and Fuck, and like they brought a strat centered around area denial and trap shit, right? Like, fucking Rogue didn't. Rogue just brought Fuse.
they brought Amaru on Villa.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, I just if there was ever one map that is a garbage map to play Amaru on, it's Villa. I mean, oh my god. I don't know.
I know those
only
are
go to
personal
Mario
experience
Map's
in ranked
house.
as well. Ooh, it's difficult to fight that one. I'd make an argument for Canal, but that's just because Amaru and Canal, the rework came out at the same
There's
time.
literally no reason to not bring Kali instead of Amaru.
and there's
Well,
literally
I mean,
no
you're-
reason to bring Cali in the first place.
Exactly,
So
that's what I
want.
Fuck off.
That's what I wanted to say.
Cali's
Thank you.
worthless. You either buff that
She
sniper
is
rifle or you
worthless.
just delete her from the game. It's not worth it at this point.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. I have got a Challenger League Playdate to prep for in a little bit with a co-caster I've not worked with before, so this should be interesting.
Who is it?
Mr.
you
Harry
say?
Red Cube Danish.
Okay.
Oh,
I've worked with Jesse
you've got the
these past 2
horniest
days,
man
but-
in Siege.
Look, I'm not going to say anything bad right now.
Why? Why? What's been happening?
Wait,
Tell me,
have
tell
you
me,
not
tell me, tell me.
seen, like,
No.
Red
The
Cube's
way in which he
Twitter?
manages his Twitter profile, he lives
Let me
alone
see.
by himself in a massive house, so he's very clearly bored. And the content that comes out as a result is questionable, but I will.
Like, he
I
made a
let- I let-
video.
I let it
He
go.
made a video, and it's like 25 seconds long, and it's just him directly sprinting at the camera, and then the last, like, 4 seconds is him picking up his phone and going, me, I asked. I care. I asked. And it's just like... The man is an absolute king of just... Red Cube, why would you post this?
I work with him. He's actually done pretty good on the B stream these past couple of play days, but he's worked with Jesse. The only reason why Jesse isn't doing it this week is because he's got finals he's got to do tonight. So Red Cube and I are taking
Finals
over,
for, like-
and it should be really, really interesting to see how the rest of NACL shapes up, because we're 4 weeks in. We got 2 more after tonight, and I think everyone's going to kind of stick in the same places that they have been. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go through and talk with him about that kind of stuff.
I mean, what is it? NACL doesn't. Obviously saltiest league on Earth. That's for sure. But you don't get any spots in Pro League out of this, right?
No, this is not being played
No,
for
this is
promotion. This is just being
exclusively
played
prize
for
money.
a prize pool that is about as big as North American Pro Leagues was, by the way.
53K.
Yeah. So, pretty substantial. So they're playing for a lot. Like, even 8th place is walking away with like 1,500 or something. So, comparative to previous Challenge League seasons, it's a lot more.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying.
that's 53K. That's like half of how much a CL caster would make.
You act like I'm making money from this.
I casted CL for a year at least. I look, dude. I've been
You casted
casting
Europe.
since.
You casted Europe, sir.
Wait, hold
I've
on. You
been
guys are
casting-
getting paid?
I've been casting since December of 2012, and the first paycheck I ever got, which is actually that has taken around 6 months for me to even get, was in April of 2014.
Wow.
So
Wait, you were
Yeah.
well on the battlefield desk by then.
yeah, 24. Yeah, I was casting Battlefield for 2 years before
Yeah,
the first
from
time I
the
ever got paid
ESL
for
studio.
anything. No, well, it wasn't from the ESL studio. I casted from home mostly. But when I casted the ESL studio stuff, there were only the finals. And the finals, I didn't get to cast until 2015. So April 2015 was my first ever LAN gig. And actually, I was only there for fun. I wasn't supposed to cast that event. I went there. I literally scraped together $50 to be able to get a bus going up at 4 a.m. from Brussels to Cologne, so I can share a room with a Dutch player that I'm a fan, like not a fan of, but like we're friends, really good friends. We shared a room together so we could stay there. But the moment I arrived in Cologne at like 9:30 in the morning, I got called by the head admin, the guy that was running the whole thing basically from an admin's perspective, and he's like, the American caster we have has been delayed in the US for 24 hours because of hurricanes in Texas or whatever the fuck it was, storms or something.
Sure, yeah.
And you just got here. Can you run to the studio like right now? We start the show in 2 hours and we don't have another caster. And the producer of that show that still worked at ESL back then was a guy that was one of the producers, Daniel Matros. He's a big face of Battlefield 3. So he's the guy that worked on that, so he knew who I was, but he just put me on there. He's like, you know what? You can cast the game after this. And literally, as I arrived there, like 20 minutes later, the American caster actually lands and they take him directly to the studio. And I randomly get to cast because two casters, Pansy was sick. So she, back then when she was casting, she went to observe the matches. Jason Kaplan was sick, so he stayed at home. Mitch Leslie, Uber, that casts Overwatch League, was the host of the event, and Machine, Alex Richardson, was the only caster left. So I had to alternate with him, Brett FX, Aaron Trimble, who still casts Battlefield to this day, and obviously Alex, so we can all get to cast the games. Otherwise, it would have been two dudes casting like 7 matches.
Oof. That would have been terrible.
I did that once.
It's fucking awful. And from a studio on top of that, it was the first ever time that happened. And my mentor basically for the match was Alex Richardson, Machine, who, you know, now obviously big deal host and casting every now and then, but I'm going more towards the host position now. And yeah, I guess it was a very big inspiration for me at that moment and those things that came to it. So it takes a long time to get anything paid in esports, man. So people really don't understand this. It starts off as a hobby. When people come up and they casted like 3 CL games, they come to me like, no, they don't come to me, but I hear like the amount of clout that they're talking about. They're throwing shade everywhere. Ugh. You know, it's like, dude, I mean, honestly, fucking kiddo, what did you do? I mean, back in my day?
Yeah. Here's something that I don't say because it doesn't matter, but I casted the very first For Honor tournament.
You're right, that doesn't matter.
You're right. Right? It was, I did not get paid. I casted for 7.5 hours straight.
Oh my why, God?
And this was, by the way, a week after For Honor had come out, so no one had any idea what like moves were
called.
You
could bullshit everybody through all of this.
Oh,
like,
dude, yeah.
So like,
Jesus.
When I'm sitting here and I'm hearing these like guys going like, "Yo, I casted for like an hour and a half tonight," and like this is my like 3rd cast ever, so you could say I'm kind of a big deal. Shut the fuck up,
dude. Honestly, people come up to me and they're like, you know, I casted this season of Challenger League. I'm a big deal. I'm like, dude, the amount of Battlefield Go Force that I casted amount to 10 times the amount of CL you casted and you will cast in your entire life.
Ooh,
I casted like 40 Go Force in Battlefield. That's only Go Force. That doesn't count community cups, other tournaments that we had, this everything around it. Holy shit. And people come to me like, you know, who is this Milosh guy? Like, dude, I was doing this before you knew what esports were.
I mean, you could literally look at some of these kids and go, I was casting back when you were in fucking middle school. Sit down.
Basically. I mean, yeah, sure. I don't have, you know, the Intero followers or the Kickstar followers, but I'm there, dude. Like, you can't come up and bullshit me with that sort of thing. It's, you know, people just stay on their high horse and act like they own the fucking place after casting a CL season? Dude, what the hell?
Does it really
what
matter if you have clout? If Ubisoft designed an entire operator based on your original character? I don't think it really matters.
No. 3 characters now.
Okay, so what is it? It's
Oryx is me in 2 years. Maestro is me in 15.
Oryx. Oh my god.
Oryx is me in 2 years. Okay.
Maestro, if in 2 years you can run through a solid wall,
Kaid is you in what, 50 years?
And not break.
No, Kaid. Look.
Kaid
I'm not talking about
60.
the abilities. I'm not talking about literal abilities. Do you think that a normal human being can dress like Maestro can and walk around with a fucking Alda and all that ammunition, just running around with 2 evil eyes in her backpack?
Hey, don't forget about like the 100-pound reinforced walls that it takes like 4 seconds to just
I'm just gonna slip them out of my ass and just put them into a wall.
It's called the magic satchel.
Exactly.
Just go. It's the exact same thing. Every Deadpool film you ever see, you just pull something out of in there. It's the magic satchel complex. It's like, that is why I went to film school. Anyway.
Wow, look at me. My name is CaliberJacob, and I spent $200,000 to learn what a MacGuffin was. Look at how fucking cool I am.
Joke's on you.
I can say the word. I can say the words suspension of disbelief. That cost me $50,000 actually.
Okay.
Good job.
I can say the words ludonarrative dissonance. That cost me.
Are you a games reviewer?
And I immediately hate myself.
Actually, I am getting a degree in journalism, so yeah, kind of.
Are you gonna just now tell me that Rainbow Six is the Dark Souls of FPS games? Is this where this is going?
Actually, no. Rainbow Six is Jesus Christ. I'm gonna say some words here, and
you're a journalist, man.
It's not gonna be pretty.
You're the journalist.
Oh boy.
Rainbow Six is the Raven Shield of Rainbow Six Vegas 2 of Dark Souls of Lords of the Fallen.
Can someone unravel me or unravel that for me on Twitter and tell me what that means, please?
Sure. It means that Rainbow Six Siege is a 7 out of 8. Too much water.
So what you're trying to say is Rainbow Six Siege is the Raid Shadow Legends of video games.
This podcast has been brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends.
No,
we don't know what the fuck it is.
Stop! We can't say that. We cannot say that.
No, it's been brought to you by Raid, the actual anti-bug spray.
This podcast has been brought to you by Raid the Redemption. It's a pretty good movie.
This broadcast has been brought to you by the Twitch Raid. We're probably going to give some poor sap. No.
Or are you a film student? You've not,
I'm a film student who hasn't seen Citizen Kane all the way through. What's your point?
Sorry, excuse me, what?
What is that?
I love the god. Gonna spear me through the heart.
My sword.
Do you just happen to have...
He just has a For Honor sword just sitting next to his fucking desk.
Actually, it's the sword of the Witch King of Angmar, but...
Ooh,
Fucking
okay.
nerd.
Lord of the Rings reference. I like that. Anyway.
No.
All right.
It's,
I should probably legit get out of here in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Milosh, do you have anything that you want to plug? Anything that you want to speak up about real quick? The floor is yours for a couple seconds if you got anything you want to shout out.
I want to shout out my barber. Olivia, I miss you very much. Please come fix this mess. It's awful. I want to say big things for my
Damien,
mom.
if you're listening to this, I know you play Rainbow Six, and there's a chance that you might actually hear this. Damien, for God's sakes, come fix my hair.
Honestly. So there's that. To my parents, shout out to my parents for actually watching me a cast for the first time ever in the past 2 weeks.
Let's go.
Yeah. They hated everything I did until they actually heard it, and they're like, oh, this is not too bad. Nom, nom, nom. So
like
yeah,
this.
it's positive. And shout out to all the people that pay me so I can survive in this world. Shout out for governments for allowing me to stay in a country that usually I wouldn't be allowed to stay in. Yeah, and just go out, check my Instagram, my Twitter, all that stuff. Please follow me. Influencers are dying nowadays. But yeah, I hate that word anyway. So let's just never use that ever again and pretend I never said it.
I also hate that word, so let's... Yeah, I agree. We're never going to use that term again.
People that get paid money to advertise things to their followers. There you go. To fans, I guess.
And right now, we are not sponsored.
No, so sponsor them, please.
If you would like to sponsor us,
Domino's, Pizza Hut, would that be a good start?
I'd be cool with that.
Yeah. I mean,
what's the email account we have set up for this? hammeredcast@gmail.com. Yes. Yeah.
Send us up. Send us your pitches.
Apparently, according to some person, this is better than the B Leaguers. So
yeah.
I mean, obviously, I was never on the B Leaguers, so.
I don't think the B
we have
Leaguers
to step
had
up.
guests.
I mean, to be fair, they had guests on almost never, and we're trying to get one like every podcast. So it's like
we get guests.
It's just a format
every
difference.
podcast. Yeah.
Whose fault is that?
Flynn,
as always.
It's always Flynn's fault.
Flynn, definitely Flynn. Anyway, that joke was brought to you by ESL. No.
Ouch.
I still live here. This apartment is owned by them. Don't fuck me over here.
All right, we're gonna get out of here. We're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review, and we'll probably rate it at the beginning of other episodes at some point. Thanks for watching, Milosh. Thanks for a lot for showing up. This was a lot of fun. It's always really, really cool to have people on and talk for like 2 hours in this case, just BS about Siege and stuff. It's always really fun.
Yeah, dude.
Thanks a lot for taking the time. Good luck in whatever the new league system looks like in the future, and we will wait with bated breath while we wait for more info. So,
you and me both, buddy.
I mean, I'm gonna be breathing fine. You know, I don't live at like 8,000 feet where I need an inhaler to fucking cough.
It's not 8,000 feet. It's like 5,000
feet.
Bye. 8,000 feet.